What's up? Welcome back to the 5 Reasons Gambling Show, Friday, May 12th. Big night in the NBA, big night for Miami Heat fans. We're all excited about Game 6. Obviously wanted to finish it out in 5 games, as it is always Heat in 5. But we'll get the game back in Miami, back in a place where we haven't lost yet, and we'll talk about that game coming up. In addition to the late game, we'll talk a little Game 7. We'll talk a little baseball. So we're going to kind of fly through the card and talk about Bettor Edge, first of all, and most importantly, it is my favorite place to gamble on sports. It is one of our sponsors, Bettor Edge. It's a peer-to-peer marketplace. You can jump in there. It's very similar to trading stocks, if you're familiar with that. It is not betting with the book like other books. You are betting against other people, so there are no fees. There is no VIG. All that money stays inside of your pockets, which is amazing. You can find better lines. You can create your own lines and throw it out there and see if anybody else bites. I often do that. It's kind of like fishing. You throw a line into the water, see if a fish is going to take it. If nobody bites, the money goes right back into your account. So make sure you check that out. I'll show you some of the features as we're going through today. We have competitions going on. We'll talk about our Friday night NBA competition that we have going on for $5. But most importantly, if you sign up on bettoredge.com/5RSN, you get yourself $20 from 5 Reasons Sports. Anytime you can get $20 from 5 Reasons, in particular, Ethan Skolnick, you have to jump at that opportunity. Use that link. It'll get you $20 in your account. You can use it to get in our competition tonight. You can get it to bet on the marketplace, whatever you want to do with it. All sports are there, player props, futures, everything that you could possibly want to bet on Bettor Edge. So we're going to start tonight by looking at the game that we're all thinking about as 5 Reasons Sports Network's contributors as Heat fans, and that's Heat Knicks Game 6 in Miami. Let's look at the marketplace here on Bettor Edge and take a look at what the lines are looking like. The marketplace has it at Heat -6. Money line is juiced up -259. Over under is 208. Just taking a peek elsewhere at the marketplace, compare it to external markets. So 6 is a pretty good number if you're looking at Bettor Edge. A consensus elsewhere is 6.5. I've seen that trickle up to even 7 some places. You can see in the marketplace lots of different options here. If you feel really good about the Knicks or the Heat, there's options for you to go on both sides of that and get good numbers. My take on this, obviously I'm a Heat fan, so I do have some bias. We're coming into Game 6. Game 5 was a game that the Heat probably could have won. It's the only game in this series that we've lost with Jimmy Butler, although he was somewhat of a decoy throughout the game. We did not shoot the ball well. The Knicks shot it better than us. But it was a game that was still winnable late. It took kind of a furious comeback, a good shooting game from Duncan Robinson. But coming back home where we won both of our games against the Bucks, we won both of our games against the Knicks so far, so 4-0 at home. I just feel like the opportunity is there for the Heat, and they understand the opportunity that's in front of them. If you're looking at trends, teams that are up 3-2 coming back home after being up 3-1 are 23-8 straight up. That's a 74% win percentage. Home teams in Game 6, 38-26, 59% win percentage since 2003. Home teams that are favorites in Game 6, 33-16, even better, 67% since 2003. Trend data doesn't mean anything. It doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't mean that the Heat are going to win for sure. But historically, in this spot, teams like Miami that are up 3-1 coming back home, maybe you have a little bit of a relaxed attitude going into Game 5. I don't know if Miami did that, but you're coming home. You can get the job done and close it out 4-2. I think Miami gets it done. Now, that being said, looking at the spread, 6.5 points, as someone that has watched probably 70 of the 82 regular season games this year, we know that Miami has a habit of creating clutch games for the better or the worse, because they've been good in the clutch, but we don't generally blow teams out. And obviously the playoffs has been a little bit different than the regular season, but I would be a little fearful of a 6.5 or 7 point line if I'm the Heat. Could they blow out the Knicks? Absolutely. You had guys out there for a lot of minutes. Brunson and Grimes played 48 minutes. The Heat, you could blow them out. Could the Knicks win? Absolutely. They could do it. But my lean, and when we talk about the competition, I'm going to go Heat money line, and I know that's the easy way out. One opportunity you could do is, if you're on Bettor Edge, look at the marketplace. If you don't like 6, throw a number out there. Throw a 2.5, throw a 3.5, something like that. 2-possession game, but still a win for the Heat. You're going to pay a little bit more money on the juice, but maybe somebody on the other side of that wants to take that opportunity on the Knicks. So look at that in the marketplace, but I think the Heat get it done tonight, close out this series. Now, looking at the total, if we go back here, marketplace is over under 208. Let's just take a peek at what we got here. We got some 206s and a half, 207, 208. So lots of variety again there, and lots of money out there too in the marketplace. A couple $100 out there if you want the over under. In this series, slow pace, around 93 possessions a game. That's about 3 possessions slower than their normal pace. These teams are playing this game in the mud. Both of them enjoy that. They're rolling around in the mud, having a good time with it. 208 points per game this series. So that's right at the number that you have on Bettor Edge so far this series through 5 games. If you look at the Knicks side, fatigue with Jalen Brunson and Quentin Grimes. I don't think Grimes is going to play the minutes that he did last time, and we'll get to that later. Brunson, if he has to play 48, Jimmy said he could play 48. Is Jimmy healthy? There's a lot of questions with fatigue and injuries, and at this point in a six-game series, nobody's healthy. Everybody's got something. Mitchell Robinson's a little banged up. Bam Adebayo's been banged up. Caleb Martin's a little banged up, and that's not an excuse at this point. You just got to get it done. But when you look at the total, these two teams are not teams that typically are going to play high scoring. Now, look, in the first series against the Bucks, you never would have guessed the overs for the Heat, the numbers that they put up against a good defensive team. Both of these teams are poor shooting teams, and one of them can get hot. Don't get me wrong. But when you, again, look at the trends in Game 6, since 2005, 90 and 65 to the under. That's 58%. 10 of the last Game 6s, 10 out of the last 12, I should say, have went under. Now, I want to pull up, I've been showing you the marketplace, but I also want to show you some data here from Cleaning the Glass, which is a great resource, not just for NBA stats, but also for gambling. In looking at offensive ratings, this is the Heat's offensive rating, and just looking at colors, not even looking at numbers, we'll make this very simple. When you look at the Heat's offensive rating in this first column, you're not seeing a lot of bright colors. You're seeing blues, you're seeing whites, you're seeing tans. That means their offensive rating has not been very good. Look at the Knicks. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff. Let me flip it over here. Against the Heat. Couple games each way. You know, each team has had kind of one game where they stood out, but then also some offensive ratings around 100, 105. Those are not going to get you overs. Now, free throws, offensive rebounds, things like that can definitely play into this. Three-point shooting can play into this. But I'm playing the under. I'm going under 208. I think that's probably my favorite play of the night. It's not fun to watch a game where you have the under because you're constantly rooting for misses. You hopefully, I guess, as a Heat fan, you want to see a blowout. And you saw that last night in Denver where that team got blown out. They start subbing people out, and that really helps your under. It's not going to help your player props, though, if you go overs. But under 208, I think that's a great play. We don't have half lines on Bettor Edge, but if you're betting other places and get the first half under 106.5 or under 105.5, all 5 games have been under in the first half. These teams are playing at, 105, 105, 102, 104, 97. That's an average of a 102.6 in the first half. 68% of first halves after Game 3 in the Eastern Conference since 2018, under. Trends, again, guys, it's not a guarantee, but when you start looking at the historical trends, it starts to point your way, you know, looking at what's going on in the series and then combining history with it. I think the under is a really, really good play in this under 208 or under 106.5. Let's come back to the Bettor Edge marketplace here. Some player props. So when we get in the competition, these lines are stagnant. They're not going to move at all. They're frozen. I have a couple here that I'm going to just run through very quickly. And you can bet these in the marketplace also. If you go here, you're in the Knicks, you click on the 3 dots, you go to additional markets. There are player props from rebounds, points, threes. Everything is in there. A couple that I like and that are in my competition picks. Julius Randle, I'm going to go under 23.5 points. He has he's so inefficient. And so really what you're betting here is that Julius is not going to get hot from 3 because I don't think he's efficient enough, and especially if Bam is going to be guarding him. He's been 19.8 points per game in this series. As long as he doesn't hit, I would say 3 threes. Obviously, that only adds up to 9, but I just don't think he's going to be efficient elsewhere to get to that point total of 23.5. And obviously, as a Heat fan, I'd love to see him have an inefficient game and a closeout game. The next one, Quentin Grimes. He played 48 last game, but I think that's largely due to Josh Hart's fouls. And I don't think he's going to play 48 again. All of his volume is basically 3 points. So you're looking at, is he going to make more than 3 threes? Is he capable? Absolutely. He's also capable of getting foul trouble because they largely are going to put him on Jimmy Butler. And if Jimmy can get him in foul trouble, he's not going to play a lot of minutes. Maybe he gets the Josh Hart treatment, who played less than 10 minutes last game. So I'm going Quentin Grimes under 9.5 points. On the other side of things, I'm going to have an over on Max Strus, over 12.5 points. He's had 14.8 points per game this series. He's went over that number in his last 4 games. He's another guy that relies on threes, but he can do other ways. He can get out in transition and hit those Kevin Love outlet passes. He can cut to the basket. His role was diminished a little bit last game with Duncan Robinson getting hot, but if Max gets hot early, I think the Heat will lean into him, so over 12.5 points. Next one, Caleb Martin. It's not in the competition, but you can get this on the marketplace. You can get this elsewhere. I think Caleb's going to have a big role tonight, and over 8.5 points I think would be a good play for him. He's done that in the last 8 games where he's played 24 minutes, and I think his role is going to dictate him playing 24 minutes tonight. Next game tonight is the late game coming on at 10 o'clock at night. Warriors-Lakers game 6. Warriors pushed it 3-2. We're going back to L.A., Warriors are a 3-point dog. Over-under is 221 for this game. My play on this one, I got actually a plus 500 series bet on the Warriors on Bettor Edge. Much better than the closing line value or the market value at that time. I'm going to ride with the Warriors. There's some question marks about AD. There's some question marks, I guess, about Andrew Wiggins also playing tonight. I think they're both going to get out there. Warriors are playing for their season. I'm going to trust their experience. I don't have a whole lot of data on this. I'm just going with my gut. Warriors +3 is one of my competition plays. Again, I'm going to go back to the under, though. And we talked about that with the Heat. The trend data historically, under 221 is good. Game 6s, it's been under 2 out of 5 in this series, but all 3 of them are right at the number, could have been under. Again, since 2003, 97, 70, and 6, 59% of Game 6s under. Since the bubble, 15 and 9, 62% of the games under. It's just a historical trend at this point in the series. People are banged up. People are tired. There's injuries, all those different types of things. I think the unders tonight are the 2 best plays that I see on the board. We appreciate Bimmy coming in here, giving the thumbs up in the comments. Player props for this. Jordan Poole. His role is dropping fast. Question marks about that contract for sure. He's 1 of 14 in the series from behind the arc. That's not very Jordan Poole-esque. He's streaky. He has 11 points in the last 4 games in this series, 6, 5, 0, and 11. I apologize. He actually has 22 points. I did terrible math there in the last, but that's only 5.5 points a game. So I'm going under 10.5 points. Could he get hot and go out there? Absolutely. But if he's not playing well, especially with the way the Lakers are attacking him, he's only getting about 18 minutes per game. I think Jordan Poole is going to be sitting on the bench watching Clay and Steph try to keep the Warriors season alive. Next one, Dennis Schroeder over 10.5 points. His role is increasing while Jordan Poole's is going down. Almost 12 points per game this series. That would put it over this number. As long as he plays over 28 minutes, which he has done most of this series, he's covering this number. His role is increased. And then LeBron under 26.5 points. We've had this a couple times this series, and I missed it on the one where he had 27. That's the only time this series. 4 out of 5 times he's been under 26.5. The only time he went over, he had 27. It was a late free throw. Only 23.6 points per game this series. His role is not to be a scorer. Could he go out there and get over it? Absolutely. But I think his role is more as a facilitator. He understands what he needs to do for his team to win, and it's not to go out there and try to score 40 points or 30 points on under 26.5 points. Those are my plays for Heat, Knicks, Warriors, Lakers tonight. Now, as we move into the last part of the show, Sunday, we have at least one Game 7. Celtics 76ers. It has not been posted on Bettor Edge yet. That will be Sunday's game. As you can see, it's locked here. There could be another one, the Lakers-Warriors. If the Warriors win tonight, that would be on Sunday. If the Heat lose tonight, that would be on Monday, not Sunday. So you will have at least one Game 7, maybe 2, maybe one on Monday. Hopefully not. My prediction, just as a brief, kind of aside to this, the line early for Sunday, it opened up Celtics -7.5, which I think is insane. That number has been bet down to 7, so the action has been coming in on the Sixers. I would lean Sixers. I don't trust Doc Rivers. I don't trust James Harden. I don't trust Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, any of those guys. But 7 to 7.5 points for that team, they could win it outright. So I think that number is way too high. I think it should be more around like 4, 4.5, 5. So you're getting some value there. And I think that number is going to continue to trend down from that 7.5 to 7, probably into 6, 6.5 by the time that game tips off on Sunday. The over-under, 202.5. That's opened up, I think, around 206.5. It's been down 4 points over the last, not even 18 hours. That's going to continue to go down. We talked about trends in Game 6 today. Game 7 trends, same thing. Unders are almost blind bets. You always bet the unders in Game 7, and it's just adjustments are not going to be there anymore. People are fatigued. People are injured. It's a tight, nervous energy. Under in Game 7, I would look at that. Now, that number is not very good anymore, but if you can get a better number than 202, and whenever Bettor Edge opens that up, peek in there in the marketplace, I would go after that. Last but not least, we're going to look at a little bit of MLB. Before I do that, I just want to plug one more thing before we go back out of the Bettor Edge. I'm going to get out of the marketplace here. One of the things you can do, as we go through this and we're trying to get this 5 Reasons Gambling show up and running, and they're not a sponsor, but I think they're a great tool, is the Action Network. And they have a tool where you can download their app. You can track your bets. I definitely recommend tracking your bets because that's something that can help you become a better bettor. I've been doing it for years. You can see, maybe it makes me a degenerate, but I have over 3,000 bets logged in here. It's kind of a social platform in a way, but you can go down and look at your performance, your return on investment, your record broken down by different sports. So like we're going to talk about baseball here in a second. So this, over the course of not just this year, but in general, I'm up about 10 units in baseball. It tells you, how are you doing in terms of closing line value? You can go and look and see what other people are like. My guy Brian Fonseca's on here. I track when he's betting. I can kind of follow what he's doing or fade what he's doing. So I definitely recommend that. They're not a sponsor, but definitely check them out because it's a great tool as a bettor to keep track of what you're doing in terms of your bankroll management and your unit management and things like that, different sports. So I want to close things up because we've been going for damn near 20 minutes now. This is the longest 5 Reason Gambling show we've ever had. I got 3 MLB plays. First one, and these are all totals. Tampa Bay Rays, dominant team against the Yankees, under, it's plus money, under 8, plus 107 in the marketplace. Easy number. I'm going under on that number. Cardinals, Red Sox. This one I'm going over 10.5. Marketplace is at minus 115. I think you can throw out there like a minus 105 and still get that, or even money. I wouldn't pay the minus 115 juice if I were you. When you go to your orders, just adjust the juice. Obviously, that doesn't go to Bettor Edge. It's between the bettors, but I would not pay that for an over 10.5 number. Last one I like, Cubs and Twins, under 8. And that one is right here. Cubs Twins under 8. They have under 7.5. I'd probably still play that at plus money, but if you want to go in there, you can always go to your order, change that to an 8, maybe change that to a minus 105, and then you can throw that out there that way. That's the kind of the cool thing about Bettor Edge. You can always change the line. You're not going to just go out there and buy points or pay an increased fee to bet somewhere else. Definitely to your advantage to set your own line. All right, guys, we're going to close it up with that. We went over Game 6s. We talked about Game 7s. We talked about MLB. Join the competition. It's on Bettor Edge. You can do that by going to bettoredge.com/5reason-pick'em. You get yourself a $20 bonus by signing up using that code. Get in the competition. It's only $5 today. You can join in. It's a winner takes all. Last time we did this, I think someone took down $60, something like that. So on a $5 entry, that's pretty darn good. Make sure you check out the games tonight. Make sure you check out 5 Reason Sports for all their coverage of Game 6. Hopefully not of a Game 7. Regardless, they'll have you covered with post-game, halftime, playbacks, all those different things for all South Florida sports. Thank you, guys. Go Heat, and have a great weekend.